Hi, welcome to the eJenn Solutions podcast series. And today we're going to talk about the ROI of laughter. And is using humor in your social media and advertising, is it worth it? Are you going to see a return? And if you do, what are the possibilities of a return that you might accomplish with that? And not only that, I'm going to go over some stats, case studies, and at the end, I'm going to show you a couple ways that you might ease into the humor in your social media marketing. So if that sounds like something that'll interest you, let's get into the podcast. Show you is really the science behind laughter. Laughter is a powerful and psychological response that can really have an effect on the body and also on the mind. And of course, we know it triggers endorphins. It makes you feel good, right? And it actually reduces stress. And it can also be a great bonding measure. And it improves mood, and it can really just overall enhance the well-being. And it's an emotion. And when we're working in marketing and we're working with online marketing specifically, we want to capture emotion because we want emotion to be related to your brand. So that's a little bit about the science behind the laughter and why it's so important to think about that when you're creating and you're doing your campaign. Okay, so we know how laughter makes us feel and how that can be associated into our marketing, and it can make people, how it can make people feel about our brand when they're happy, they feel good. But it also to increased engagement, which we'll talk about, which of course enhances social sharing. Say that 5 times fast. And it gets your brand out there, and it just goes into that viral mode that we all hope for. And it really does improve message retention, meaning so much in social media especially is watch time. And when you're dealing with you don't even get tracked in social media if they haven't stayed on for 3 seconds. If you can't even keep people on your social media posts or anything online for 3 seconds, it doesn't even get tracked. That's the barrier. That's our bar, 3 seconds. And it can also really be a great differentiator between you and your competitor, especially if your competitor is boring, ho-hum. It can really laughter, humor. It can just wow. And it becomes very shareable. So these are a few reasons why you might want to consider more humor, a little bit of chuckle, a little bit of laughter in your social media marketing. Okay, so here's a few brands and a few brand campaigns that you're probably very familiar with, but we're going to go into more detail on them. So the first one, which is very funny, was Old Spice, the man your man can smell like, right? So look at, I've got my spiral notebook here. And I actually had a pen and wrote this down. So sales increased by 107% year over year after that commercial. Social media, they got 6 million views on that first commercial day one. Website, week 1 multiplied to 40 million views. So there's the viral moment. Now, I'll talk a little bit about the initial 6 million views, but the 40 million was that snowball effect, people sharing, people laughing, people watching. Because people were watching, the algorithm loved it. The video got pushed up in more For You pages, but up in the algorithms of whatever social media site it was on. This one specifically was talking about YouTube. And then website traffic. So website traffic increased 300% after that. And then it goes on to say that it became like the number 1 selling body wash. And I can't remember what year. I'll have to look that up. But clearly a winner. And I believe Advertising Age named it the 21st Century Ad Campaign of the Year. So clearly a winner. All right. So the next one is Snickers. And you may remember this one. You're not you when you're hungry, right? And so this is where Betty White, Danny Trejo, and a couple of other people, they would have Betty White, I remember sitting in a car with some friends, or no, she was playing football. She's playing football. And everyone's like, what's wrong with you, man? What's wrong with you? And then it turns out after he had a Snickers bar, he turns into himself, right? So it was very cute using celebrities, and you're not you until you have, of course, a Snickers bar. So year 1 increased world sales. Now this is a little bit bigger as a global campaign, but increased world sales by 15.9%. That's pretty big worldwide. And then the market share, it says that they gained market share in 56 out of the 58 countries that they were in. So clearly a winner on that one. And here's my favorite. So here's my favorite, the Dollar Shave Club. Now, there's a lot more to this, and maybe another time, if you leave comments on my YouTube channel that you want me to go into it, I'll tell you a little bit more about how he actually leveraged and how he actually got that first success. And it wasn't all just organic, so remember that. But they were founded in 2011, and he did very well. It was his first year. What Al Dubin is the founder's name. So 2011, they did 4 million, which is not bad. Not bad for a startup year. And he did the video in 2012, and that brought in a total of 6 million for that year. So of course he went up 2 million. But as that virality kind of played through and went into the next year, 2013, 19 million in sales. So he went from 6 million to 19 million. 2014, he went from 19 million to 65 million. And then in 2015, he went from that 65 million to 150 million. And then in 2016, he sold that for $1 billion to Unilever. And do you know how much that ad cost? Well, the creation of the video, not the ad campaign that they ran, but the creation of the video was $4,500. So for $4,500 using humor, he sold that in what? 1, 2, 3, 4 years for $1 billion. I would say that's a successful ad campaign. I would say that one won. If you want me to reverse engineer how he did that, obviously the humor part, the creativity part, but more about the ad campaign and what he did in between before it took off, let me know in the comments. But yeah. All right. And the last one is the most interesting man in the world. Do you remember Dos Equis? They had that gentleman, and of course he's just doing these funny things, and he's the man's man, but he's also the most interesting man in the world. So that one, it says that their sales increased 22% after that, when other imported beers saw a 4% decline. So while everything was going down at that time, which is around 2007, 2008, you remember that time, this was just taking off. This is the brand. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, the brand, I need to find out the date on that. I don't have that stat, but in 2007, is that the brand business nearly tripled after the campaign's launch in 2007. So that was right about that 2008 time. So honestly, that is very good. It increased the brand's value, they said, by 22%, which would go to the increase in sales. And the best thing is, all right, so 2007, how long ago was that? And we're still seeing memes every now and then. If you're on your social media, I am sure there is a reference at least once a month back to this campaign. So very good, very clever, and really a good marketing campaign. Also, just as a point, when I listed all of these, I'll bet you remembered all of them, didn't you? And I'll bet you remember the brands. So right there, just between you and I, did humor work? Yeah, because I'm sure you had a little smile when I said the thing and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. So clearly humor does have a good retention for a brand. All right, so I'm going to show you 2 samples here. We're just going to go to X because this is just an easy way for me to showcase this. Doesn't mean you need to use X or that you should start there. It can be used any social media platform. But let's go to the National Park Service. And the reason why I like them is because obviously they want to get information out. So there are times when they have to be serious. It can't always be funny. But they did hire someone with a sense of humor, whether it's a comedy writer or something else, not sure. But this was the post that I wanted to share with you, which I think was in 2023. If you come across a bear, never push a slower friend down, even if you feel the friendship has run its course. Now, obviously, I didn't deliver that correctly, but to me, it's funny that the National Park Service would do this service announcement that if you ever come across a bear, never push your slower friend down, right? So it's very funny. Let's just talk about the stats of this. 1,000 or 2,000 comments. It had 25,000 reposts and 173,000 likes. And then here's the other one, the saves. 2,500 saves, and that's that little bookmark, so people can come back and read this. The comments are hysterical, and the views, 10.5 million. This is a park service. So if you're not thinking that people are craving humor, I would bet you're wrong on that. So what I like about them is there's no pictures. No, it's just a funny line, a funny comment. And if you follow the National Park Service on Twitter, actually they're on Instagram, I think they're on TikTok. You can follow them there if you like, and you really get a sense for how they're utilizing it. So I would say go follow them, see how they're working it. It's a very low-key way to use humor, but it's impactful. And I know that when I saw that tweet, that's when I started following them. So they were never on my radar to ever follow, ever follow. Why would I want to follow the National Park Service? I'm not going to a park. Well, I love seeing their humor posts. So yeah, a case in point. The next one I want to show you is Wendy's. And Wendy's has a really cute way, and they're always coming up. Wendy's has always been innovative with this and they have hired comedy writers. So this may be out of your budget. But what I want to show you is one thing that they did. It's a post here. It says they're working on their old Photoshop skills again. Hit us up with a profile pic that needs some sauce. Now they were just doing Wendy's sauce and they were talking about Wendy's sauces. So people would send their profile pictures, and then Wendy's would come back. And if you're looking at my screen, they would create that picture into some type of Wendy's sauce. And everyday people did it, but also, people had requests. People were sending in pictures. And what I like about this is I can't quite find it here. I know other brands were getting involved in it, and I thought that was really cute. They had Mattress Firm. Yep, there it is, Mattress Firm. They actually said, hey, can you do our profile picture? And they created a mattress with a bunch of Wendy's sauce and chicken McNuggets flying around. So it's very cute. And let's see and I think this one is a very recent, not mistaken. Yeah, they just did this July 10th, had 326,000 views. They had 1,200 comments, likes, 2,300 likes, and 163 reposts. But that's just one post. I mean, they are constantly going and doing creative things like this. But what a fun way for them to involve community and get their people involved. So I don't know. What do you think about that? So I hope this gave you a few really good ideas for how you might want to implement humor into your campaigns. Of course, we can always help you, but I highly suggest you also go and just do a little research on your own, see how and what other campaigns are doing for fun, how they're using humor, and even just take a look at the companies and the brands that you follow. Why are you following them? Is it for education? Is it because they have funny campaigns and it brightens your day? That might be something you want to look at. So thank you so much for listening to this episode, and I hope to see you again in the next one.